it's been a great joy to visit with her, and now it's my pleasure to introduce Kelly Brough, President and CEO of the Denver Metro Chamber of Commerce. She's been in that position since about August of 2009. Kelly has a varied background. On the political side, she was Chief of Staff for the City of Denver and then Director of the Denver Office of Accountability and Reform for the city, and then Director of Human Services or Human Resources for the City and County of Denver. And then on the education side, she also directed an internationally recognized leadership program at the University of Colorado. Her own education includes both a master's in business administration as well as a bachelor's of science degree in criminology or sociology and criminal justice. So this well-rounded experience in education is, I'm sure, what helps Kelly thrive as she leads an organization that represents about 3,000 businesses in the state and their 300,000 employees. They also lead programs including the Denver Metro Chamber Leadership Foundation, the Metro Denver Economic Development Center, and then the Small Business Development Center, just to name a few. All of these are things that I'm sure help Kelly achieve her ultimate goal, which is to help make Colorado a great place to do business. And that includes focusing on how to create a strong economy and hold off the evil forces that are trying to curtail that. I think that was a direct quote. I'm not sure. I was trying to write really fast as I spoke to her. But Kelly's a key force leading the charge to defeat Amendment 60 and 61 and Proposition 101, and that's what will be the focus of her comments today. I asked Kelly why she joined Rotary earlier this year, and she said it's because it's an organization that's about creating a better place for all citizens. It focuses on common causes and allows her to give back to the community. Please welcome Kelly Brough.
You know, whenever you hear your own resume, what you realize is maybe I just can't hold a job. You know, last summer when I interviewed for this job, I never said in the interview what I'm particularly interested in. You know, I had to lay out a vision and hopes and dreams for Colorado and what I'd do as the head of the chamber. And you'll be happy to know I never said, I really hope I get 3 really bad ballot issues that would be devastating economically for the state, and I could raise $6.4 million in the worst recession most of our businesses have ever seen and defeat those 3 issues. And yet that is indeed how we have spent our last year, is trying to make sure that that comes true. And if you haven't voted and you agree, please vote no. And if you have voted, I'll just give you all the reasons now you can explain to your friends why you were so smart in your vote. But I'm going to move quickly because I'm going to guess a lot of you have voted on the 3. You've certainly seen or heard our commercials. You're sick of them. I feel like I'm fitting into that negative ad space a little, right? Because I'm asking you to defeat things instead of voting on a sense of hope or what's possible. I'm asking you to kill things. And right now, I don't know about you, but I am so tired of the campaigns. So I'm looking forward to next week just so that part is over. But let me spend 1 minute on the 3 ballot issues and why over 640 organizations in the state of Colorado have joined us in our effort to defeat them. And those organizations, by the way, are organizations that often don't come together or agree on much. It includes Democrats, Republicans, and independents. It includes suburban, rural, urban, mountain communities. It includes labor and business, who has not found a lot of common ground in the last few years. And so if I have to tell you one positive thing that's going to come out of this is an extremely strong coalition with a vision about we have to create a future that is economically vibrant for Colorado. And the path to do that will not be clear. There will not be always agreement about it, but we do have agreement on that goal. And we've been able to align on these 3 issues. We hired, yes, indeed, I paid an economist to do a study for me, which has been used against me as a negative. If you've got somebody who's a really good economist who will do it for free, I'd be happy to take them too. But I did hire someone. His name is Henry Sobonnet. He was actually the budget director for Governor Owens. And I hired him to study these 3 issues and tell me what's the economic impact to the state of Colorado and what would be the estimated job loss given that economic impact so that we could talk about these issues in real terms for Coloradans. You've heard it, 73,000 jobs is and that's our most conservative estimate. Additional jobs lost. In this recession, Colorado has lost about 108,000 jobs. So it gives you the magnitude of what we would experience if these passed. The second thing Henry did was look at then, what's the economic impact? It would take out of public coffers, both local government and state, about $4.2 billion. It would take out of our economy about $6.2 billion during that decade. This is a time when we are entering a budget at the state of Colorado that has $1 billion shortfall right now. We know the challenges. You probably heard about them during the last session where we weren't all in agreement and we were fighting about how do you balance the budget, but you got to do it every single year in Colorado. And it's not pretty, but you have to do it. And the Chamber of Commerce is part of those discussions about what's the best way to do that. And it is hard, but there is no way that you can take half of your property tax that goes to schools right now, our K-12 education system, and simply state in the Constitution that the state must backfill that money and pretend that it's just magic like that because you wrote it in the Constitution and it must be so. In reality, what would happen is 97% of our state budget would go to K-12 at that point. Everything else the state does, and we can have lots of discussions about its value or how well the state does it, everything else we would not have a plan for how to fund. That includes prisons, that includes Medicare and Medicaid programs. It is wide-ranging, the kinds of impacts it would have, and it's short-sighted to pretend we could do that. The funding that would go, one of these proposals would take your car registration to $10. I'd love a $10 registration. Really, right? When I read it on the ballot, I thought that sounds pretty good, especially during tough times. It would take that funds roads and bridges and highways, which, by the way, we're in terrible condition in terms of our overall infrastructure on our highways. It would take it to 1919 levels of funding. We had 2 paved roads in 1919. I would say we'd have to pick them very carefully. And I was going to propose that they be the ones I commute on every day, but I'm going to guess you all may have some opinions about what should be funded as well. It looks pretty positive in terms of our ability to defeat these 3 issues right now. But I would tell you, don't leave here thinking that that's fine then and your vote doesn't matter or you don't have to help persuade others. Because the reality is if we don't defeat these, the position we're in as Colorado is significantly worse, and it's hard to think about how we dig out. I spend most of my days trying to convince other companies to come to Colorado or current people doing business in Colorado, our current businesses, why this is a place that they can be successful. One of the #1 questions those out-of-state companies ask me when they come here is, how is your fiscal position at your state? The second question they ask is, how well are you funding your educational institutions? And that's both K-12 and higher ed. And if you know the answer to both of those, it isn't very pretty. The good news we have in Colorado is we must balance our budget every year. We cannot run deficits like some other states who are in dire situation right now. And so that puts us in a better position with companies. I certainly don't tell them about the 3 ballot issues and that I didn't sleep from about May to August as we were trying to figure out how to defeat them. I figure, we're just going to win that battle and I won't have to disclose it to those companies who may come to Colorado. But when you look at our educational funding, we are seriously challenged. We're #2 in the country in terms of 4-year degrees with our adults. We are extremely highly educated. How many of you moved here from another state with your degree? Look around the room. It is a great strategy, and it's one we're never going to change. As a matter of fact, what brought most of us was this great lifestyle. It sells for those young graduates who are either going to graduate school or looking for that place they want to start their career. It does not sell to businesses. What sells to business are those educated kids that we can offer them when they come. Because you can't be a mechanic today without some college education. We have got to have an educated workforce. However, almost 1/3 of the kids in the state of Colorado are not graduating from high school. Of those who do graduate from high school, about half will go on to college. Of those who go on to college, about half of them need remedial education when they get there. You've now paid twice